And it is Saturday, the 28th of January, year of our Lord 2023. Depending on which calendar you want to listen to. How are you doing today, Brandy?
Absolutely awesome. On purpose,
On
as
purpose?
always.
No way, on purpose.
Yes.
Okay, well, we got a little show ditty going on here today. We are going to do this better next time, and we are going to talk about the creation of the internet. There's a lot of stuff going on right now with Chat GPT, and what is Chat GPT and how does it work? Why is it important? Well, at the center of this is Google and Meta and Facebook and all the rainbow and all the other stuff that's happening with all of our tech, and all of our tech oligarchy is driven by a couple of different companies here, right? Between Amazon and Meta and all the other large tech oligarchy components. They call it the FANG index. What is it? Facebook, Instagram, Netflix, and Google. So that's like the Dow. It's the Dow competing stack. It is the cornerstone of the blue chip the tech industry set. So I think the internet just didn't grow up. It didn't happen out of a guy's garage, just like Apple didn't have out of a guy's garage, just like Microsoft didn't happen from a kid that dropped out of college. His Bill Gates' parents are very connected. If Elon Musk, same way. So this is all part of the elites that are dealing with this and pushing these things at us. So there's something called DARPA. It's the Defense Advanced Research and Planning Group or whatever. But DARPA is the skunk works brains behind a lot of things that happen from a technology standpoint. So we're going to look at this cutting edge work that helped create the internet. The internet was originally created so that it was a self-healing network, so they could finish sending all the codes off. That the thing would find its home. That's TCP/IP. That's network internet protocol. All gets very technical. Well, it's not technical anymore because your phone is in your hand. It tracks everything, and all of it is based on this. ChatGPT is in the middle of this. 5G. It all doesn't work without the web, and also we don't work without the web. Without the internet, I couldn't do all these things right here in front of us. So it's not about my statement. A knife can I can cook you dinner. I can make you dinner, so to speak. It's all how you use the knife, right?
That is true.
So let's talk about how the internet came to where it is now. Let's talk about that.
Turn to the military's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which back in 1958 helped put the first weather satellite into space. This year, DARPA celebrates 60 years of stunning and
Did I lose you?
So when they talk about this satellite here, they have a picture of this satellite right here. Shit, come on, don't argue with me. Okay, the satellite that went up. Okay, do you know why? Do you know why I love that piece of hardware, that satellite right there?
No, I do not.
Because it took this picture right here.
That is a big love.
Yeah, it's a big hole right there. I'm telling you what, baby. That hole is bigger than the missing part of the conscience of the entire Democratic Party. So anyway, I love this satellite. It's yes, thank you, satellite.
1958 helped put the first weather satellite into space. This year, DARPA celebrates 60 years of stunning inventions that have kept the United States on the cutting edge of technology. Kylie Atwood spoke with some of their scientists.
And red, I've immediately been alerted there's a threat over there.
This is a Ghostbusters rig on a real-life mission.
If that was a 55-gallon drum full of ammonium nitrate, that would be a very big blast.
Today, American soldiers must be inches away to identify a chemical warfare agent or a homemade bomb. But by next year, they'll be able to do that from as far as 100 feet away.
Any chemical that's a threat to a soldier, we try to detect first.
Ed Daugherty's quest is backed by the Pentagon's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, also known as DARPA.
The biggest threat right now is probably homemade explosives. If you think of fertilizer, that's what they're using today in Afghanistan to try and blow up our soldiers.
With the help of DARPA, the goal is to shrink this 30-pound backpack into a handheld device.
DARPA is really an engine within inside the Defense Department, challenging our military services to think differently.
Stephen Walker is DARPA's director.
It's important for DARPA to understand the technology, to then be able to explain it to our warfighters and our policymakers, and not be surprised by its use or misuse by a peer adversary.
DARPA helped create the internet, unmanned aerial drones, prosthetic limbs, and Siri.
This video is brought to you by ExpressVPN.
So this guy over here, Stephen Walker, see this guy right here?
To then be able to explain it to our warfighters and our policymakers.
Warfighters and our policymakers. Are you a warfighter or a policymaker, Randy?
No.
Oh, do you have a cell phone?
Yes. Unfortunately, you don't want to know the real answer to that.
Well, DARPA, hey, for all the,
And
look at this.
not
These guys make everything. They start with all war items. But what else do they make?
be surprised by its use or misuse by a peer adversary.
DARPA helped create the internet.
DARPA helped create the internet. Okay, I'm there. Yeah, the internet's good, right? Okay, let me keep going.
Unmanned aerial
Oh,
drones.
wait a minute. I don't think you said drones as birthday presents unless it's to a bad guy's birthday party, right? I don't think those are good for me. Ask Muammar Gaddafi.
Prosthetic limbs.
Okay, well, I might need some prosthetic limb, because I went to war. I went with drones. Wait, okay, that's not bad.
And Siri.
Siri. That's a thing in your house. It listens to every single word that you said. And what did Kevin Walker say that their thing is? What do they do? They do things like
Of stunning inventions that have kept the United States on the cutting edge of technology.
You know who's cutting on that edge technology? We are being slashed with that technology and shredded.
Kylie Atwood spoke with some of their scientists.
And red, I've immediately been alerted.
Okay, the first scientist is a Ghostbusters guy. Can I build a better narrative here? A Ghostbusters guy. He can't do anything, right? Oh, no, here's the real brains of the operation.
The Defense Department challenging our military services to think differently.
So they're military services. And do you think that the three-letter guys, the OSIS agencies, and everybody else have been weaponized against us? That's what Twitter says right now. That's what Elon Musk drops say. So DARPA made the internet, DARPA made Siri, and here's what they do.
Stephen Walker is DARPA's director.
It's important for DARPA to understand the technology, to then be able to explain it to our warfighters and our policymakers.
Are you a warfighter or a policymaker? Which you pick? There's no third option. You're fighting in the war. We're fighting in the war that these guys built. I haven't previewed this. I like the title. Should have what I want.
Hi, welcome to another Cold Fusion video. This episode is about two things. Number one, Google, one of the most recognizable brands today. We know them from the operating system on our phones, to their smart home devices, to Google Search, Google Maps, and Gmail. and even YouTube itself. They're an organization that's so prevalent that they're almost invisible. And the other thing that this episode is about is the CIA, the same organization that overthrows foreign governments and spies on leaders and citizens. From human rights violations to drug trafficking, the CIA has always been shrouded in mystery and controversy. So what does Google have to do with the CIA? Well, many people may not realize this, but the CIA was directly involved in the foundation of Google. Google co-founder Sergey Brin even reported to representatives of the US intelligence community on his progress. Not only this, but the application that became Google Earth originally had CIA investment. Generally, this is a concerning relationship, but in this episode, we're going to take a deeper look. First of all, let's take a brief look at the CIA.
You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
Okay, we're going to get back to this. I'm not going to abandon the rest of this video. They're starting in the right spot. I agree with them. Oh, wait a minute here. This must be going too far. Are you going to tell me that the social networks are also in on this? If you don't believe this, it's from July 25, 2022, 1 year ago. And they're saying that Facebook, initially titled The Facebook, launched from February 4th from some Harvard students. I have a feeling we're going to hear an alternative strategy here. 2006, it became available. So for 2 years, they tested it. And then they follow with these other guys, and they come out and they make Facebook. Marks the beginning of the social media curve. Yes, Orkut and MySpace existed before, but Facebook was the beginning of a sharing of a live feed of your life. The most used social online network. 2.93 billion people get their daily program update from Facebook. Oh, looks like it's going away. We got TikTok and Twitter, and it's all about which thing you're going to have in your face. But they say launched February 4, 2004. That's what they're saying. We're going to hear another story of that. Okay, here, let's see what Facebook has turned into. Here's what Project Veritas says about Facebook. I love these guys at Veritas. James O'Keefe is a stud.
So the next question has been in the comments, not only here for Q&A, but also in the poll that I post every week, and something I'm also pretty curious about myself. So Project Veritas posted another video based on leaked materials that expose our colleagues' names and also put them at risk. So what are we doing to actually stop leakers, and how are we keeping our colleagues safe? And I know that Heidi is on the line as well to help you answer this one, but that's something that I've seen in the comments quite frequently.
Yeah, and I mean, Heidi should definitely jump in on this, but I mean, there are a lot of questions that we get a lot of the time around, when people leak stuff, do we find them? And, I've been clear that we have the number of efforts to find people and we terminate people and pursue the recourse that we have when we identify them. And in this case,
so it sounds to me like you get your ass hunted down. Is that like what you think you're seeing there?
That is, wow.
Okay, let's step back another step here. Okay, the internet is made by the DARPA, right? We know this. So I can tell you this story very, very well without a lot of these other pieces. I remember all of this very well. So the Tim Berners-Lee is the first guy that put together TCP and IP. TCP alone is transport control protocol, and IP is internet protocol. And these two things came together with something called DNS, which is domain naming services. And there's a reason I have no slides for this, because I'll put everybody to sleep. Yeah, I can read scripture, or I can talk tech, and I'll put everybody to sleep. So look, there's some pieces that came together. This is the first guy that did it, Tim Berners-Lee. He's the one that made. They put HTML, which is our markup language, HTTP, which we all know is a certificate. We see that if it doesn't work. But this guy, Tim Berners-Lee, he didn't try to cash in on the invention. CERN calls him. They want to make it all theirs, but he wanted the web to be open and free so it could expand. Oh, wait a minute. Let's have a little bit more about the open and free internet.
Yes, we did find them. So, Heidi maybe can talk a bit about that. But we generally don't talk about it or go out of our way when we find folks who leak. But but we do a reasonably good job at this, and I think it's the kind of flip side of the coin for having an open culture is we can be open and we can share a lot of stuff, but we also need to be very good at rooting out people who are leaking stuff.
Okay, wait. This thing says, oh, it's important that we get the leakers, but my platform is what? What is it?
So you need to be very good at rooting out people who are leaking stuff.
I don't need leaks. Wait, what am I leaking? I don't have any secrets. We're open. That's what he says here.
I think over the last year there have been more leaks than I think all of us would have wanted, but we also find a lot of the folks and terminate them. So anyhow, Heidi, why don't you go for it?
Sure, I'm happy to. As you said, we generally don't share specifics around the actions we take to mitigate and investigate leaks because
This is not an open and free internet. We're going to get back to the Veritas stuff. Berners-Lee starts off and he says, oh, I'm not going to do this certain thing. And this is in the early 90s. Oh, well, let's see. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's time for our commercial. We are sponsored by Anti-Aging Bed. And if you can't sleep because all these things are screwing with your life, then maybe this will help. Wellness at home. Not if your home has a Siri in it where it listens to everything you say. Thank you, Anti-Aging Bed, for your support in our process. If you really want something that works, it's the closest thing to a med bed you're going to get, and it's available right now. Okay, so Tim Berners-Lee, now he's doing something else. He is coming forward with the Webb Foundation. This is in 2010. So back over here, oh, that's right. Wait a minute. We have to get back to the fact that this is bull crap. We'll get there in a minute. So over here, we see that Tim Berners-Lee in 94, he does this thing. Well, wait a minute. What's he have to do in 2010? And why does he have to do this? Maybe because the internet has turned into this?
we don't want leakers to find a way around them. But we do take leaks very seriously. We always investigate them to the fullest extent possible. And when we find leakers, which we often do, we have a zero tolerance. So that means we fire them.
Zero tolerance. Yeah, we have a zero tolerance. Let's see what the guy that invented it says we can fix it with.
10 years, the web has, of course, developed in lots of ways. It's developed in the sense that it's got much more fancy. Lots of geeks all over the world have come together and met in order to figure out the latest sort of graphics technology. And so we're looking at ourselves collectively. Here we are, basically people who are very lucky. We've got lots of nice computers. We've got lots of portable devices in our pockets. And are we developing the web for ourselves?
We have a saying, leading the web to its full potential, and we kind of wondered, well, what is the full potential of the web and where are we?
The web is also developed, of course, in the sense of it's expanded. So now it's got to the point where 20% about of the planet use the web. And now when you think about that, 20% of the people use the web, immediately you think, okay, so what about the other 80%?
Well, there's all these kinds of barriers like illiteracy.
Remove barriers to creating and consuming web content. Accelerate growth of the web, understanding how the web works. Oh, I'll tell you how the web works. You want to hear how the web works? Works like this.
And we also consider other things, other actions, such as legal action. For those of you who don't know the context around this question, Project Veritas released a video last week alleging that they had uncovered a new effort to censor vaccine concerns globally. It was based on leaked documents about a health integrity program that we have in place that combats vaccine hesitancy by taking a hard stance against vaccine misinformation.
That is the best Freudian slip ever.
Misinformation. Vaccine hesitancy and taking a hard stance against vaccine misinformation.
This is all over the news. This is happening right now. Tim Berners-Lee says, let's do it this way.
A disability. We've made these observations and we've now been doing a lot of work talking to people, traveling around, and we had some very good contacts in Africa. Going around talking to them and seeing if these hypotheses are correct. Is it true that language is a barrier? Is it true that people do have mobile phones there? And because in Africa now we're getting close to 50% of the people there have mobile phones. But whereas less than 10%, I think the last number I saw was 6% are using the internet. We came to the conclusion that there were a number of these barriers that weren't being addressed adequately or globally enough elsewhere. So we decided to start the foundation. One of the key impetuses to help to promote the web as a tool of empowerment for all people on the planet. There have been organizations that have been pulling together farmers in groups and doing demonstrations. Maybe they can address 10 new farmers a month, but if you have 1 million farmers to address, it's going to take a long time. So our project is to use the web as a way to connect the organizations, the non-governmental organizations who are trying to help the farmers, and then also to help the farmer connect the farmers themselves, which is the real challenge. It's unfortunate there aren't a lot of people working in the IT area in agriculture, at least in Africa. So this is something else we can uniquely do there.
The nifty thing about information is when you move from one place to another, you do have it in both places. So in a way, you get this exponential growth things that we've seen with the web because
you can share information. Can you share information when you've got censorship?
And this isn't a new effort. This is a program we've proudly spoken about publicly in our blog. So in this case, while we don't like our internal documents leaked and being shared externally, this isn't where the damage was done with this latest Project Veritas. The leakers here were searching for these documents. It seems they leaked them to sabotage our efforts because they didn't agree with the direction of the company. But in doing this, they also exposed the names of a number of our employees. They shared org charts. They shared documents and posts with employee names. And the leaker also mentioned some of these names in the video that was released, speculating about the roles of these employees in their program. And once documents are out of the company, it's very hard for us to control what happens.
Okay. We got to go back. I'm getting ahead of myself. So do we understand now that this is an oligarchy, a tech tyranny? We know what the story is supposed to be. Let's go back and get another perspective. This will take a minute.
After World War II, the United States would face the Soviets in a battle for world supremacy. The invention of the atomic bomb meant that no weapons could be fired in this war, so other methods had to be used. Over the next 40 years, a period known as the Cold War would begin. No shooting, just subversive tactics. In the mid-1940s, the President of the United States, inspired by the efforts of the UK's MI6 during World War II, would sign the National Security Act, which formed the Central Intelligence Agency, or the CIA. And right away, the CIA would get to work interfering in international politics. In an effort to stave off communist influence on the global stage, the CIA would interfere with the 1948 Italian elections. They would overthrow the governments of Iran and Guatemala in 1954, Indonesia in 1957, and Brazil in 1964. The CIA also conducted some rather questionable projects on their own people. Project MKUltra, for example, was the CIA's mind control program using, quote, chemical, biological, and radiological methods. Many of the studies within MKUltra focused on the administration of LSD to prisoners, drug addicts, mental patients, along with government agents and the general public, all without their consent.
Documents pried loose in 1979 showed that through a front organization, the Central Intelligence Agency funded what was called the MKUltra Project.
The CIA wanted to understand more about brainwashing. It had money and it was ready to fund experiments, breaking down the mind with repeated electric shocks and drugs, including massive doses of LSD.
These experiments were done without the informed consent of the patients.
Lawyer Alan Stein took up some of the rejected cases. The government's paid a number of settlements since. Many of the payments come with non-disclosure agreements.
They're trying to do it quietly.
It's not fair. I mean, I feel blessed that I was able to get this far for my parents. I really do. That's what gives me justice. I'm just grateful to be able to do it, and I just hope that you can hear me up there, because it might bring you peace. It might bring you both peace.
Ultimately, the CIA's goal of using LSD as a mind-altering weapon against the Soviet Union and other enemies never reached fruition. But by the time the project was disbanded in the mid-1960s, hundreds of people were unknowingly drugged and observed. I found this last one pretty entertaining. One of the most embarrassing failures of the CIA was the attempted assassination of Cuba's Fidel Castro.
So, in interviews, Fidel Castro used to say, if surviving assassination attempts were an Olympic sport, I would win the gold medal. Reportedly, more than 600 attempts over his 50 years in power. Now, many of the failed plots were concocted by the CIA.
The CIA tried infecting Castro's scuba gear with tuberculosis, planting exploding seashells at his favorite diving site, slipping him a poisoned fountain pen. They even tried poisoning and slipping a bomb into one of his cigars. All of these attempts were a failure. It was a gigantic waste of time and money, and Fidel Castro was Cuba's dictator for another 49 years, stepping down in 2008 only due to failing health. This is all to say, the CIA may seem formidable, but when it comes down to it, they're not always perfect. With the Soviet Union gone, the CIA's actions today may be less well known, but their influence in the world certainly hasn't gone away. And that brings us to their relationship with Google. In 1994, two PhD students, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, began working on their automated web crawling and page ranking application as part of their research project. They had bet on making the exploding internet easy to access, and it paid off enormously. Sergey Brin's part of the Stanford research was funded by the NSA and CIA. Brin would often report progress to non-Stanford individuals, one of whom was Dr. Rick Steinheiser. Steinheiser represented the CIA's Office for Research and Development to oversee their research funding in a joint CIA-NSA program. It wasn't uncommon at the time for research projects to be funded by the intelligence community. Government intelligence agencies had set up programs and often seed-funded projects. Roughly $3 to $4 million of funding flowed through the intelligence community programs into universities. And while both Google and the intelligence community deny that the CIA directly funded the start of Google, it's evident that the intelligence community's research funding helped not only Google, but Silicon Valley as a whole. There are many ways this relationship is built and preserved. One of the biggest is perhaps the Highlands Forum. There's a good chance that you've never heard of this forum, but it connects the wider Department of Defense and the intelligence community to the tech startups. This keeps the military and the intelligence community at the cutting edge of tech. Many executives on the Highland Forum hold positions in the CIA, NSA, and many other agencies. Movements from these agencies into Silicon Valley is common. For example, in 2012, the Highland co-chair, who also worked at DARPA, left the agency to accept a senior executive position at Google. In an email thread made public, Sergey Brin discussed information sharing for the purposes of national security with the head of the NSA. In In 1999, at the peak of the dot-com boom, the CIA launched In-Q-Tel, a Silicon Valley venture capital fund. Its mission was to invest in startups that aligned with intelligence agencies' needs. In 2003, the CIA, through In-Q-Tel venture capital fund,
So we've done a couple of shows about this, right? And we're driving in the same direction. If you look at what's happening in the news right now, a bunch of these logos are in trouble. Their stocks are down. This is In-Q-Tel funds all of these. The CIA funds In-Q-Tel. Everybody get this? This is super important. If we don't understand the tyranny that we're under, and FTX is in this, there's a couple of shows here. I just want to make sure we stop and we look at this little graphic. This is the 3-letter agency. This is a 3-letter company. And there's a play on here with IQ. I hope it's the Q we like and not the IQ test. This is an IQ test, all of these. That's not bad, actually. Okay, let me keep going.
its mission was to invest in startups that aligned with intelligence agencies' needs. In 2003, the CIA, through In-Q-Tel, would invest in Keyhole. Keyhole was a startup that built 3D global mapping software. One of its first uses was to support US troops during Operation Iraqi Freedom, the campaign to overthrow Saddam Hussein. The next year, Google bought Keyhole, whose team now included CIA personnel. Google would soon turn Keyhole into the basis for Google Earth. Only a year after the purchase, the director responsible for initially investing in Keyhole at the CIA investing firm In-Q-Tel moved to take a position at Google. During this period, Google would win contracts for different search applications for the NSA and CIA. It's understandable that Google has a relationship with the CIA and many other government agencies. In fact, most tech giants do. At the start of this year, with a looming US election, some of the biggest names such as Microsoft, Facebook, Twitter, and Google have had meetings with the FBI, Homeland Security, and the Office of the Director of National Security. Little is known about these meetings, apart from the theme of how tech giants can ensure security for the 2020 elections. Google, for example, has implemented an advanced protection program. This program offers Google's highest protection level to high-risk targets such as journalists, activists, politicians, and business leaders. It effectively makes these accounts less susceptible to hacking risks such as phishing and malware attacks. But perhaps the greatest demonstration of the company's integration into the intelligence community is Google Federal. Google Federal was launched in 2006, and its purpose is to serve federal contracts. At a certain point, this branch of Google had so many former NSA staff that they became known as the NSA West. At its very launch, Google Federal went on a hiring spree, hiring managers and salespeople from the Army, Air Force, CIA, Raytheon, and Lockheed Martin. It added to its lobbying prowess by assembling a team of Democratic and Republican operatives. The strength of the relationship between Google and the intelligence community was graphically highlighted in 2010. At this time, Google came under attack from what was believed to be Chinese government hackers. The NSA came to Google's aid. The two organizations struck up a deal, an exchange of information. According to journalists, quote, Google agreed to provide information about traffic on its networks in exchange for the intelligence from the NSA about what it knew of foreign hackers.
Idea can spread, then because there's, ideas are not currency. They're not that you don't trade them. When you get them, somebody else hasn't lost them. So the sort of effect which information technology can have is going to be very, very different. But it's a really exciting time because as people get to use the technology, as they get to become part of the information society, they become very enabled and they can start being able to solve problems like getting healthcare, getting clean water, for example, themselves.
I lost you, Gandalf.
The mute button. It's like the damn button in talk time used to be. Okay, so what's happening here is that this is a representation of the internet right now. Okay, this is the tyranny. This is the censorship. Tim Berners-Lee, our guy over here, who I just love, Tim Berners-Lee is saying that look, this should be information technology should have a positive effect.
Going to be very, very different. But it's a really exciting time because as people get to use the technology, as this get to the control of the information society, they become very enabled, and they can start being able to.
They become very enabled. Or what happens if you're at Facebook and you try and enable someone with some information?
They shut you off.
To control what media outlets are going to do with them. And they almost always include employee names. This was not an isolated incident. So leaking really puts our colleagues at risk. And the same is true when employees leak our Q&As. When these things happen to our employees, our legal and HR and global security teams support them, that we want to ensure people's safety. But as you can imagine,
No. Oh, wait. I want to ensure your safety, but
they also expose the names.
Okay, she's bitching about her people getting doxxed. Real.
Okay.
Right, but
you want to explain? You want to explain to the general public what doxed means?
Hold on. Oh, that's a really good question, producer lady.
I know.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Let's see if we get something. Okay, here we go. Great question.
What is doxing? Doxing is the practice of posting someone's personal information online without their consent.
Hey!
The word first emerged in the world of online hackers in the 1990s, where anonymity was deemed sacred. A feud between hackers might escalate when someone decided to drop dox on somebody else. That is, post documents revealing the legal name of a person who had only been known by an alias up to that point. Dox became dox, which in turn lost the drop and became a verb by itself. Modern-day doxers aim to reveal information that can move their conflict with their targets from the internet to the real world, including home addresses, employers, social security numbers, private correspondence, and criminal history or otherwise embarrassing personal details. The goals range from intimidating or humiliating victims, causing a loss of employment or breaking off of relationships, or making the target a victim of in-person harassment or assault. Is doxing illegal? The prospect of someone posting your home address for anyone on the internet to see is pretty scary to most people, and you may assume that it can't possibly be legal. Indeed, federal law restricts the publication of personal information about certain categories of people, including state or federal employees or officers, as well as jurors, witnesses, or informants in trials or criminal investigations. If the doxing is part of a larger campaign of harassment, victims who don't fall into those categories may be able to press charges based on state or federal stalking legislation, or file a civil suit for damages. In many cases, doxers can piece together bits of information that their targets have posted in public.
We're not going to listen to the rest of their programming here. This is what doxing is. That's how it became to be doxing. Okay? Let me answer your question another way. This is what doxing looks like in the actual real world. Sure. I'd love to accept your cookies. So I get green with them.
I see you posting my address. I had police point a gun at my little brothers because of you. They could have been shot. They could have died. because you chose to swap my stream. I don't give a shit about what you have against me or what I did to you. For that, I'm at a loss for words. Your gripe is with me. So let it be with me. But do not involve my family in any way, shape, or form with this.
Okay, so this is called stream swatting. It's doxing, right? Doxing is also done by the companies with our data. This is a form of doxing as well. Watch this. You are looking at the way that everybody sees everything. All of this is on your phone. Your phone is leaked. Okay? All the information is there. You're getting swatted, doxed. Let's look at what swatting actually looks like again. This guy's terrified.
They don't deserve that.
He's talking about his friends that actually got shot. Really, actually got shot. Here, let's look at another one of these. This is what it looks like. Sharing of information. These are people streaming online, spreading information, okay? These are people getting doxxed, swatted. The internet's not a nice neighborhood.
Oh, this isn't good. They're clearing rooms. What in the world? I think we're getting swatted.
I'm gonna flash through.
I think we're getting swatted. What in the world?
Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
This is the internet we have today, right here. Oh, what do you got to do? We're gonna hunt the people down inside the company. We're gonna terminate them. That's what we heard earlier for the Facebook people. This is day-to-day life. This is a real guy. He's playing a game online. Maybe he would make it $1 or $2. What's he get?
In the corner. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Get your back. Do it now. Don't you fucking move.
You better not go online and make any money, damn it. What you get?
I'm gonna flash through.
I think we're getting swatted. What in the world?
Put your hands up!
Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Step away from the documents.
Of a number of our employees. They shared org charts. They shared documents and posts with employee names.
And you guys shared addresses across your platform.
They did.
Speaker also mentioned some of these names in the video that was released, speculating about the roles of these employees.
About the roles of the employees. What do we speculate about doxing? Oh, wait, let's watch the cartoon. Oh, it's okay. It's just sharing of information.
View or hinted at on social media.
Hinted at? Oh, I got a hint for you. Here's my hint. Do you have a hint what's happening here? Sorry. I so much want to go back to my donut hole Earth picture every single time. Okay, this guy, this isn't a hint. Oh, I know what it is. Do you know what this is? This isn't an order from the police.
Get on the ground!
Did you know that that's a hint? They're hinting that maybe he should.
Put your hands up! Put your hands up!
Did you know that was a hint?
Absolutely.
Hey, I have a
mine.
I'm going to hint, hey, psst, hey. No. This is a yell. This is a command.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
There's one in the corner.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands on your back. Get on your back. Do it now. Don't you fucking move. Get on the fucking ground. Get on the ground.
Another one. Look at him. Look at him. Is that a hint? Oh, let's get it again.
Get on the ground.
This cover's locked down, dude.
Look at this. So the internet started once upon a time, and it was supposed to be a place, a good place, a nice neighborhood. Well, here's the neighborhood cops right here.
In their program. And once documents are out of the company, it's very hard for us to control what happens to them. It's hard for us to control what media outlets are going to do with them. And they almost always include employee names. This was not an isolated
employee names. So I got to go back to my doxing.
Amazing how some guys.
Go ahead.
Amazing how some guys just like playing God.
Don't get me on that one. That's 87 shows. Okay. So what I'm saying here is once upon a time, this guy right here, Tim Berners-Lee, put the pieces together and made a first real internet. Internet's controlled by Google, Facebook, YouTube, the Thing Index, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. Well, this is all the shit that Google has put out of business. AngularJS, I just Node, man, they killed it. They made it riddled with cheese. Newsletter, Google Toolbar. Oh, we can't give you. We have to change. This is a bullying tactic. We changed the interface, so you have to relearn. You have to learn how to learn from us and relearn. Google Maps. Look, they killed this because now they've got it done. The My Maps, they've got all the information they want from you there. Okay, they killed it. Google Bookmarks, can't do that anymore. You got to go research every time. Do your research. They're stealing that one. I see this one coming. Except to chat base. Chat GPT is going to knock us out of the water. Fitbit coach and Fitbit yoga. Can't get in shape. No. Stay home. Stuck home. Oh, man, all my data was in there. Back in 2019, the tour builder, expedition. This is all the stuff that what play me with. You can't do this anymore. You got to go somewhere else. It was replaced by Google TV. Okay, now I want to be in your smart TV because your phone's not always on, but your TV is. Is this what they're putting in our ass? Oh, wait, sorry. They're never going to quit doing that. Okay, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop, really. Okay. Let's talk about why the hell did I use this? Okay, let's talk about other options. Have you ever heard of something called the Fediverse?
Yes, I have.
Well, oh wait, you cheated.
I know. I have a friend.
We're going to show you a working version. You cannot tell me that I do not challenge you with new things, sometimes 5 or 6 times a day. I so much appreciate you. So Mastodon is a baseline component of something called the Federated Internet or the Fediverse. Okay, this is a distributed network. Distributed network, plain YouTube videos. I get a cartoon. The IT law wiki. What is distributed computing? Here we go. Let's try this. May I have my video, please? You advertise me a video. Nope. Loss. Okay. Distributed systems. Nope. 15 minutes too long. Distributed application. Okay, this is a distributed application. Oh, you did it to me again. There you are. And now I don't want to put in my email address, you jerks.
You only get the video if you let us know you want one.
Boo boo, my video is not for you. Oh, here we go. I like this one.
Hi, Humans here, and welcome to another episode of Fast Tech Skills. In this video, we're going to have a look at distributed systems. This is a very important approach.
Yeah, whatever. Let's get to the part where you draw it. Okay. So what he's going to tell you here is that this lives in multiple places. So even though you find it in this name, it lives in multiple pieces and it grows. As you get more systems that live below it, everything becomes dependent upon the primary views of these applications into the user interface that is presented. And then those pieces grow into sub-applications. Some of these applications are replaced because the stack gets reshuffled and the distributed network responds. So there should be a distinction between these arrows somewhere. So and then when you get all the way to the next level, does he go? Yep, here he goes. So now I have a parallel computing index that allows me to take this thing and make it happen in multiple places. It's almost a quantum replacement set. So distributed computing, so I don't do tech videos anymore, is all about putting something so many places you can't kill all of it. Okay. Mastodon servers do come under strong pressure to actively respond and moderate the behavior of their members. Yes, it's hard. Mastodon's been around about a dozen years. So let's show you an active Mastodon implementation. Have you ever seen this interface before, Brady?
I have. I just want you to know you have 51 minutes.
I know. So I'm trying. So I have a good. Oh, wait. I got to get to that. Okay. So this is an example. This is a federated internet user. As of so far, we have got no strikes in the federated stack. This is a Gandalph's lab project. You will notice you'll some people here. Oh, by the way, I see a little better over here, so I'm a carrot.
Yeah. He likes dropping carrots all day long.
It is so when people know that is a Red Bull, yes. So that if you go to this place, which is FML zone, it's in the notes for this article. This is where this is the pivot for all of the stories that you see on all the social networks that we do. We know this is baseline available. Obviously, this is free. You can come here and engage. You'll get to engage with the people that you actually hear and see on the shows and do everything else. So I want to bring this home. Do you think that you touch your cell phone more or less than 2,617 times a day?
I sure hope not.
I found this article when I just did a search. I was looking, and I say within the last week, everything I do. I am stunned by this number. I didn't even follow the link earlier. Let's see if they. Oh, look at that.
They don't want you to follow the link.
I'm so glad that we do these in real time because there's times I've gone back to my own notes in 4 or 5 days. Half my stuff's already not working. The impact of the use is staggering, I say. Okay, you can see that screen. Tell me how many of these. You just go down the list. You got 2 minutes.
Reducing the quality of conversations, adversely impacting short-term memory and problem solving, negatively affecting our sleep patterns, resulting in more negativity, distress, and less emotional recovery in young children, increasing obesity, and the positive correlation between smartphone addiction and depression is alarming.
Yep.
Take away someone's smartphone and they become very antsy fast. When's the internet coming back up? When are you going to pay my phone bill? I don't know. I don't have any money.
I've never done this search before. I wonder if it works. Oh, watch this. Watch this. Oh, this is too easy.
Can kisses.
Thank you.
Could you go an entire week without using your cell phone? That's the challenge these freshmen at Adelphi University have taken on. Professor Donna Freitas runs the experiment as part of her course, Life Unplugged. Students voluntarily turned over their cell phones to ensure there was no cheating. Many were worried about how they would survive the digital detox.
I'm freaking out.
Like my hand is shaking right now.
But along with their professor, who gave up her phone too, they committed to doing it for 7 days. And then something fascinating happened.
Who's excited they're getting their phone back today?
The students realized that life, in some ways, was better without smartphones. Jacob Dannenberg committed to the phone-free challenge. He used an old-school alarm clock, handwritten notes, and a watch to replace his normal slew of apps. After a week, he found he didn't really miss them.
Everything's perfect right now. Having a lot better relationships. It's just a lot more like stress-free environment. No worries about social media.
He wasn't alone.
I think it's really like refreshing and like relaxing. I was able to fall asleep like a lot easier.
I was just more appreciative of everything around me, and like I was more aware.
Even the things that weren't as convenient turned out to be fine too, like driving without GPS.
I just had to take the same route everywhere.
When the teens finally did get their phones back, the flood of missed texts, tweets, and comments poured in.
Oh my god, this is so bad.
I just want to shut it off now.
But students say they were determined to keep some of the good stuff they learned.
I think we might have actually proved the number.
That is awesome.
2,617 times. You know, your phone is so good at reinforcing your program because you're so good at reinforcing your own program. 2,617 times a day, you check your phone to see if you know what you're supposed to be thinking.
Well, you know, Brandy decided to leave her phone on her desk today, and she actually missed a phone call from her boss and didn't care. He'll get the call back as soon as she's available.
Okay, I got a couple of minutes. We might go a little over an hour. Let's finish it up with why.
You're gonna cause me problems. You know that.
I'll cut in a minute.
Okay.
Google Jigsaw is a division dedicated to combating global threats such as extremism, censorship, and disinformation. But this division has had its missteps. In 2012, as the Syrian civil war was escalating, the intelligence community maintained a strong presence. The world in which the CIA and the intelligence community operates is a distant cry from reality and what most people are aware of. Likely, we will never know the full extent of their operations or the events that the CIA had an impact on. From helping overthrow governments to spying on the public, many controversies follow this organization. We didn't even touch on drug trafficking operations during wartime in Asia, Watergate, or the recruitment of former Nazis. That being said, it could be argued that there are just as many less sensationalized activities that have kept peace in the world that the public would never be aware of. Content that may be blocked in your country. For example, if I wanted to watch the movie Ex Machina on Netflix, it's blocked in Australia.
There's a lot of information out here, people. There is a lot of information. And it is everybody's responsibility to do their own research. Their own research. And if you don't know how to do your own research, then the road to Gandalf is filled with rabbit holes.
That is true.
So, in the words of Elmer Fudd, I think you should go hunting wabbits. So, I got 20 seconds left. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Gandalf. See
Everyone
y'all
with the-
later.
Everyone within the sound of my voice, if you do not know that you're fantastic, you should tell yourself you're fantastic first, because if you don't believe it, nobody else is gonna. Good night, Gracie.
Good night. Check